Everyone who's familiar with video games knows who Aerith is, but it seems like it's only Aerith fans that actually know her, the character. Collectively, we seem to fixate on how she died and undervalue how she lived. She has a very unique place in pop culture as the quintessential one that got away archetype, and because of that, everyone who's engaged with Final Fantasy VII has an Aerith of their own somewhere along the timeline of their life. Someone they either lost, pushed away, or just met at the wrong time. Aerith represents many things to many people because we all see her through our own lenses and interpret her accordingly. However, I want to boil her down to her core idea, or thesis. Much in the way Cloud's core is that of a lost boy starved of love, Aerith's core is centered on love as well, but the way in which she engages with it is very different by comparison. She is, at her core, a wounded person who loves in spite of the state of her world and the little time she has left in it. And that, I think, is her most admirable quality. So let's talk about Aerith, the Girlypop Gremlin. While there are misconceptions about Aerith, they aren't as numerous as, say, Cloud, who many people incorrectly view as a self-insert hero and in turn project their own desires onto his story. Really, the only misconception about her that I actually take seriously is that a lot of people mistakenly clock her as the saintly bastion of light and purity. This interpretation mainly comes from the Final Fantasy VII compilation material and cameo appearances in other media. In material outside of the mainline FF7, there's not a lot of time to portray the party members properly since they're a bit too complex to fully realize in a series like Kingdom Hearts, for example, where they show up as cameo appearances. Aerith's whole purity angel motif comes mainly from her general absence from the back half of the original FF7. It's almost like a posthumous mythical version of her that the audience and party members create to cope with her death. The compilation material that came after the original had to fill in the blanks about what she'd say or do after she died at the ancient capital. And again, she's not properly fleshed out post-death until probably the Lifestream White and Black chapters in the On the Way to a Smile novel, written by Kazushige Nojima, one of the writers on the original Final Fantasy VII, as well as the remake games. It's extremely meta when you also consider the possible implication that the remake games are sequels, with Aerith trying to set things right once and for all. It's like she's come back to set the record straight on her portrayal, both in-universe and in a meta real-world context, to repair how the FF7 fandom views her. Now, nearly 30 years on, with all that compilation material being synthesized back into the remake games, she's got a lot more personality. And for people who have a skewed preconception of Aerith going into the remakes, they're thrown off when they engage with her character, and in extreme cases, some people even dislike her now. Which is ironic because it's more of a return to form than a butchering of Aerith's character. And I think a large contingent of people who don't like her now are those who engaged mainly with the FF7 compilation material instead of the mainline content. That's not to say she's this flawless princess of light. A lot of people who dislike Aerith don't seem to understand that she actually has a massive character flaw, just like all the other party members. While it's her only major flaw, it is very much a fatal one, and it quite literally gets her killed. She keeps secrets. Aerith's relationship with her heritage is rocky. We'll get into that later, but because of that, she intentionally omits important information and leaves people out of the loop, which leads to her eventual death at the hands of Sephiroth due to the party being out of step with her plan when she heads to the ancient capital. A very dangerous place for her to be without the party protecting her. It's truly tragic that Aerith didn't live long enough to learn to share her burdens with other people, because only in death did she learn to properly trust in Cloud and the others. Sometimes our most painful lessons are the ones that we learn too late.
Hold on, Merryweather.
Oh, hey Aerith. Is something wrong with the video?
No, it's just, if you're making a video about me, it needs more Whimsy.
But I am a YouTube essayist. This line of work is serious business, you know. How else am I supposed to flex my useless degree? You read the script. I'm about to go in.
And you can still do that. Just have more fun with it.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I...
What do you think, Aru? More whimsy? I'm feeling whimsical.
Hey, Aerith, they're not supposed to know we can see them.
Oh.
Well, I can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. Anyway, more whimsy. Where was I? It's why I love Remake and Rebirth so much. Her portrayal aligns much closer to how she was originally written. Because, you see, Aerith is a f***ing troll, bro.
Not a word.
Not even one?
No!
But you're so pretty.
For 2,000.
Enough for her standard course. Twice, right?
Her what now?
Ask him.
Cloud?
I'm game.
Huh?
But it'll be fine. We've got a bodyguard, don't forget. Mine.
Right?
You're just being modest. After you.
No one in the party is equipped to socially neutralize Aerith. She knows how to press all of Cloud's buttons to the point that he fundamentally changes how he interacts with people. She's got Tifa stuck playing from behind when it comes to the love triangle with Cloud, and Aerith somehow befriends her anyway. She keeps Barrett, yeah, this guy, from taking himself too seriously. And she treats Red like a f***ing puppy. It's hilarious. The point I'm making here is that Aerith dominates all of her social interactions through affection. Even with Tifa, who has complex feelings toward Aerith because of Cloud's fixation on her, still becomes close friends with Aerith despite the tension between them. It's a clear testament to her magnetic personality that even Tifa, who should be cold toward Aerith, is unable to shut Aerith out. Earlier in the video, I mentioned how Aerith loves in spite of the state of her world, and that it's the core thesis of her character, someone who loves fully with what little she has to give. This idea of ephemeral but priceless connection is captured beautifully within the lyrics of No Promises to Keep, which I would play for you if not for copyright reasons, but let's just say I found a workaround for that particular issue. It's not funny. This is serious business. Though they likely only knew each other for a few weeks, Aerith's love for Cloud develops to the point where it transcends time, space, life, and even death. The lyrics contextually only really apply to Cloud, and in its address, it speaks of how destiny both brought them together and also separated them, but that she knows that one day he'll come find her. Aerith carries a heavy burden, and it's not just her destiny as the last Cetra. That's obvious. But for that burden, she has the rest of the party to lean on in that quest, and that's actually easier to deal with compared to the other trials she faces. You see, Aerith's destiny is not why she acts the way she does. It's because of her trauma. Keep in mind that Aerith and her mother were experimented on because of their lineage. Years of invasive procedures and basically growing up in a research lab took its toll on Aerith, and as a result, she developed a couple of quirks, one of which is her demeanor, if you will. She embodies the idea of whimsy as rebellion. Aerith's relationship with her heritage makes her initially afraid to embrace it and leave Midgar, as she tells Cloud when they first meet in Remake. At that point, she's just kind of drifting through her life, goofing around a bit, but with no clearly defined goals. But I want to unpack that because I think her mischief and playfulness aren't superficial. They're acts of defiance. Defiance against the world that just keeps taking things from her or trying to put her in a cage. In spite of everything she's been subjected to, she still keeps her head high and just keeps walking forward, albeit with no real direction, at least until she meets Cloud. In Remake, her dialogue heavily implies that she can see the future. She's immediately attracted to Cloud the moment they meet, and she knows things about him that he hasn't told her yet. She speaks to Tifa as if they already know each other, and of course she gives Red and Marlene visions of their futures. Aerith knows she's marked. She knows the planet is dying, and she knows her time is limited, but still, she chooses to be joyful. That's not denial, that's rebellion. Case in point.
I'm asking you to help me. I know that together we can do this. But if we do, we'll be changing more than fate itself. If we succeed, if we win, we'll be changing ourselves. I guess maybe that's why I hesitated.
Aerith isn't just following the script. She's actively looking for a way out and tells the party when they're about to break the chains of the narrative. Textbook rebellion. You know, Aerith, Cloud, and Sephiroth all have a unique relationship with fate and trauma. And as the three central characters of FF7, they all reflect each other in some way. Aerith serves as a mirror to Cloud, just as Sephiroth does. They all represent different coping mechanisms, in a way, all of which came at the hands of Shinra and their human experimentation. Like, the writers were cooking with this, seriously. Cloud retreats inward in response to trauma. He hides from his pain by becoming someone else, the version of himself he wishes to be. Sephiroth, on the other hand, lashes out. He buries his pain, lets it fester, and tries to exert control over everything, because if he can rewrite the world, then maybe he never has to feel helpless again. Aerith, she does the opposite of both of them in their respective ways. As Cloud's foil, she opens up and expresses herself instead of shutting down and putting up a front. And as Sephiroth's foil, she chooses to spread love, in contrast to Sephiroth forcibly assuming control of everything. She tries to use humor to keep everyone from taking themselves too seriously. And she's the only one of the three who doesn't let her pain change who she is. And that's really admirable, considering the fact that the only person who's arguably had it worse than her is probably Cloud. But I digress. Aerith genuinely embodies that live, laugh, love meme. Yeah, it's official. Aerith is the only person who can get this tattooed on her collarbone or whatever. Everyone else? No. Come up with something better. Live, laugh, love is officially Aerith core. So, memes aside, this is why Aerith's death hits so hard. To see someone so happy to just be alive get violently killed, that's what makes her death stick in video game pop culture. While we won't be picking apart the altar scene, I've already done that, shameless plug, we will talk about her death and how it links to her character. Let me ask you, what happens when someone who just wants to live is forced to become the symbol of life itself? The perception of who Aerith is gets fundamentally altered, both in-universe and in real life, the moment she dies. Like I said, these remake games are essentially Aerith taking control of the narrative and showing us who she truly is. Her story, in many ways, is an experiment with the idea of perception, that which we see versus what's actually there. Or, on a more grounded note, take our exchange right now as an example. There's everything that went into making this video, which is separate and much more complex than that which I allow you to see. Now I'm still trying to figure out where my good side is. But future me will have to figure that out in post. Now then, let's talk about perception. So Aerith's death was a meta event that compelled all of us to mythologize and deify her, despite the fact that she herself was a very down-to-earth person who cared deeply about the little things in life. Aerith becoming a martyr for the planet altered how we perceived, word of the day right there, her as a person, which is something she definitely would not want. Think about her complicated relationship with her heritage and the fact that her dream scenario was just her living in Sector 5 with Cloud, where she could freely express her feelings toward him and not have to worry about the live stream or being etc. Her material desires in life are on a divergent path from her destiny. Aerith doesn't want to be a Cetra. She just wants to be happy. But she picks herself up and decides to fulfill her destiny as the last remaining steward of the planet, laughing and loving every step of the way. It's tragic. The irony here is that Aerith's expanded perception, her ability to perceive all her alternate selves within the life stream, means that at certain points in the story, she knows what will happen to her. She can see the myth around her forming in real time and accepts it anyway. Our ability to perceive and interpret the world around us is limited, and there are aspects of life and existence that we can't fully comprehend. The idea is heavily associated with Aerith in the remake games, in that there are multiple planes of existence containing parallel worlds, all of which are housed in the life stream. Aerith, so long as the white materia is functional, gains that extra layer of perceptive ability. She can see and interpret things that are well beyond the abilities of the other characters in the universe. This ties into what we discussed earlier about Whimsy as defiance. Aerith's death becomes the ultimate version of that idea. She chooses to face it, to love and be selfless even as she knows what's coming. Her expanded perception isn't just sci-fi multiverse awareness. It's emotional clarity. She sees every possible outcome for herself and still chooses to do what's right. Of course, after she gets her last moment with Cloud, but there's a wild card in all this, and it's Cloud himself. He's not on board with just letting Aerith die, and quite literally shatters reality out of sheer force of will, just for a chance at saving her. Cloud was able to do what he did in the finale of Rebirth because of how directly Aerith serves his emotional need for unconditional love, something he was stripped of early in his life. The thought of losing it once again is what gave him the strength to defy fate, if only for a moment. This isn't a one-sided benefit though. In Cloud, Aerith gets to engage with someone who treats her like a person instead of putting her on a pedestal or trying to kidnap her. Cloud is highly attentive to Aerith's emotional state, something he generally doesn't bother himself with when interacting with other people. His stellar service as her bodyguard is what makes her safe enough emotionally to finally leave Sector 5 and embrace the planet's call to action. Cloud and Aerith are simultaneously the exact person the other needs most. Cloud wants love, and Aerith wants to love. It creates a symbiotic relationship, and in various compilation media and cameos, both of them are depicted as longing for one another after they're separated by death. Aerith just wants to live a simple life, where she has the space to love freely and actually enjoy what the world has to offer. Through Cloud, she gets a glimpse at it, and this in turn is why she falls in love with him shortly before she dies. Her heritage, the very thing that once caged her, ironically becomes the reason she leaves Midgar, but what little freedom she gains from it comes at a cost. This is why her relationship with her heritage is so complicated. It's the reason her mother was experimented on to the point of dying, but it's also the reason that she was able to get a taste of what she wanted out of her life. Aerith knows that if she leaves Midgar, destiny will come knocking, but in return, she got to have what she wanted, if only for a fleeting moment. And still, she marches forward with a smile. It takes me to how I relate to her character on a personal level, in that I don't believe in destiny per se, but I've noticed a pattern in my own life that mirrors this very closely. It's the idea of yearning for or deeply desiring something, but not being able to find it, no matter how hard you try. Well, here's an interesting bit for you. Notice how Aerith only got her date with Cloud after she made peace with her impending death? Well, then what happened after that? Cloud saves her for a moment and opens up the possibility of her being able to survive. Now, whether or not the branch timeline is permanent or temporary remains to be seen, but the point here is, in my own experience, whatever I'm chasing always ends up finding me the moment I accept the possibility that I may not get it. Like life is trying to get me to internalize and enjoy the journey so that the final destination is worthwhile. That's not to say that you should sit around waiting for things to happen to you. It's like threading a needle. You have to strike a balance between being proactive and reactive. A lot of things in the world make us bitter and cynical. Things don't go as planned. You get rug pulled right as you think you found what you're looking for. It sucks, really. But try to be like Aerith, because maybe that moment was just you encountering your Zack. And the Cloud to your Aerith could be just around the corner. Or hell, you might already know your Cloud. I don't know what your situation is. Think about it. Now, your Cloud could of course be a person, or it could be an opportunity. Just don't let your pain change who you are, because the best decisions in life usually involve a leap of faith. Life is risk. You gotta accept that so you don't scare your Cloud away. We should all aspire to be more like Aerith, to love in spite of the world. And that's not to say that it's a purely selfless act by nature. You attract that which you radiate, like magnetism. Don't let misfortune poison you. So, with all that said, it's only fitting that we bask in the personal anthem of our favorite songstress. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about the copyright stuff. Aru, thank you. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. So, I wanted to go all out to commemorate my first year being serious about YouTube and give a special thanks to my voice actress, Emily Lewis, for lending her voice to this project. Now, if you enjoyed this, consider subscribing for more FF7 content, or if my sheer aura is enough to make you want to watch more of my stuff, it's probably linked in the sidebar there, so check it out. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram, kind of. I do need a reason to start posting there, so give your boy a follow. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, live well, stay safe, and I'll see you all next time, whenever that is. Take it away, Aru.